What's up, guys? Welcome to another UFC Quick Picks here on the Mayo Media Network. We have UFC 301 this weekend, Pantoja versus Erceg in the main event. It is a Brazilian card down in Rio de Janeiro. 14 fights on the DraftKings slate. Should be a fun one. As always, I'm here to give you my favorite cash game play, tournament play, salary play, and a matchup I like on the slate. Before I do, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below. Give me your favorite underdog to win. I really like that category, and this is a tough one because there aren't many live dogs, so if you can correctly identify someone below the mid-range who's going to win, you may be able to stand out from the field. So always curious to hear y'all's opinions. Without further ado, let's get into my cash game play of the week, which is going to be Alexandre Pantoja at 8.8K. Pantoja, of course, is in the main event this week against Steve Erceg, minus 183 to win. I do think Erceg has a chance to compete, has a chance to win the fight, but I really like Pantoja in cash games in a fight that's minus 155 to go over 3.5 rounds. Pantoja, a very high-volume Muay Thai striker, 4.32 significant strikes landed per minute, 3.9 absorbed, also averaging 2.2 takedowns per 15 minutes, though he has upped that significantly in recent fights, landing 8 against Royval, 6 against Moreno. I'm unsure how much grappling success he'll have against Erceg, but it is one path to victory for him. And, his total offensive production in total is going to be enough to make him a very valuable cash game option, I think. Even in a decision, Pantoja's like plus 160 to win inside the distance, which isn't phenomenal, but his last 2 5-round decisions, 143, 143. That comes with a lot of takedowns, but Pantoja will project to score quite well in a win, whether it's by decision or inside the distance. The more he grapples, the better his floor and ceiling will be. I definitely think you can pivot away from him in tournaments, but I really like the floor and ceiling for Pantoja in cash games. You're also getting a discount from the 9K range. So Pantoja is a cash game near lock, I would say, at 8.8K. All right, next up, my tournament play of the week. I am going all the way to the top of the board here with Michel Pereira at 9.6K. Oh, Brett, why are you giving away a minus 600 fighter to be your tournament play of the week? Here's the thing. You got Pantoja is going to be absolute chalk at 8.8K. Orolabai is going to be chalk at 9K. And then you have minus 400 Lucindo, minus 500 Bonfim, minus 600 Petrino, minus 700 Barrio, minus 600 Pereira. Like, they're not all going to be chalky. And I think while Pereira will get some love, I don't think he's going to be exceptionally highly owned. He's kind of difficult to fit in, and people will be fine to pay down from Pereira to Barrio to Petrino to Orolabai. So it's not as simple as the betting line in this sense, but I do really like Pereira in the fact that I think he has some of the best round 1, round 2 equity on the slate against Ihor Potieria, who is, a mediocre kickboxer with cardio issues, with grappling issues. And maybe Pereira could knock him out. Pereira will at least swing his hands, and you never know. There's a lot of variance in striking exchanges, but Pereira's just more technical. Pereira's more defensively sound. Defense strikes at 58%. Potieria defense strikes at 51%. Pereira landing 5.1 per minute, absorbing 3.7. Potieria landing 5.1, absorbing 5. Potieria just gasses out midway through fights a lot of the time. Potieria gets hurt a lot of the time. Potieria doesn't really have grappling defense, so I think Pereira has multiple paths to victory, multiple paths to win inside the distance. And I would be pretty surprised if Potieria could last 15 minutes here. Pereira's minus 260 to win inside the distance. I still think spreading out your exposure in this range is the right call because there are other huge favorites with finishing potential, but Pereira has early knockout upside for sure. He has sneaky grappling equity as well, where he typically does not. And I'm expecting a solid win and a victory inside the distance for Pereira. I'm willing to pay up for him at 9.6K, and he's probably my favorite, or one of my very favorites, in this 9K range. Next up, my salary play of the week. Here, I will give you a sneaky one. We won't go obvious throughout the whole slate. I'm going to go with Jamie Mullarkey, and the reason I'm going with Jamie Mullarkey is because he should be one of the best leverage plays on the slate, as well as someone who can save salary. Mauricio Rufy is making his UFC debut, minus 213 to win at 8.4K. Rufy's minus 140 to win inside the distance, and Malarkey has been getting hurt a lot. He's been getting knocked out. So Rufy projects very, very well, quite likely to win inside the distance. And I think Rufy will be one of the most popular fighters on this entire slate. 9-1 professionally. All of his wins have come by knockout. I get it. I'm going to be playing Rufy myself. However, if Rufy's owned in the mid or high 30s and Malarkey's owned in the low teens, which is kind of what I'm expecting considering Malarkey's plus 180 and plus 390 inside the distance and recent form sucks. I just don't really think people are going to play Malarkey. There's leverage in that alone. That's valuable alone. And that's excluding the fact that, yeah, Malarkey's losing. He's getting hurt, but Nasrat Haqparast is very good. I mean, he beat John McDessie, very experienced guy. Naimov, proving to be a talented fighter. Prado, not great. He beat Michael Johnson by decision. He knocked out Smith. He got knocked out by Jalen Turner. Malarkey's experienced. Malarkey can strike competently, and he can grapple competently. Let me pull up his metrics real quick because I do not have them. Malarkey is averaging 4.4 significant strikes landed per minute, absorbing 4.4. It's fine. He's not a great striker, but he can throw at a moderate rate. Durability is the main concern. Also landing 2.4 takedowns for 15 minutes, so some wrestling equity in that. And the thing with Rufy is that, yeah, I mean, he can go out there and knock Malarkey out in round 1 or round 2, but he kind of projects as a low-volume guy, no real wrestling equity, and he's also been fighting on a pretty poor regional scene in which he was knocked out cold on that regional scene not that long ago. So I'm a little bit skeptical of Rufy's durability. Of course, he's the better play here. Of course, Rufy is more likely to win inside the distance. He's a great option, but if we're talking salary, if we're talking leverage, I think Malarkey rates out very well, can compete on the minutes as long as he survives, some wrestling equity and sneaky knockout equity. So 7.8K, I think Malarkey is a very, very strong leverage target this weekend. All right, finally, my matchup of the week. I'm going to go with Alessandro Costa versus Kevin Borjas in the preliminary opener, one of the competitive fights on this slate. Costa's minus 129, Borjas plus 112. Somewhat of a striker versus grappler dynamic in that Borjas gives up a lot of takedowns. He was taken down 5 times on the Contender Series, a couple times in the UFC as well. His takedown defense does not look good, and he's been submitted a bunch of times too. Alessandro Costa excels on the ground. He's a good submission grappler. Kind of a mediocre wrestler, though. He's only averaging 0.3 takedowns per 15 minutes, so not a guarantee to wrestle, but it would make sense for him to wrestle in this particular spot, and I think that's going to be a key path to victory for him against Borjas, who's aggressive on the feed, throws a lot of volume, and is impactful with it. And conversely, we've seen Costa hurt and finished already in his short UFC career. He looked really bad against Amir Albazi in a short notice debut, albeit, but knocked down twice in that fight. Borjas looked really good against Joshua Van early on in his UFC debut. I think if this fight plays out on the feet, Borjas can have success with his hands, could potentially put Costa away. And I don't think he's going to be popular. If anyone's going to be popular, it's going to be Costa at 8.2K, plus 220 to win inside the distance with grappling equity. Borjas sneakily better inside the distance line, plus 195 at 8K. This is a preliminary opener. There's risk elements to both sides. Neither fighter is a lock to win or win inside the distance, but I think we're going to see lower ownerships on it because of that. I do prefer Costa slightly for his grappling upside, but Borjas is another sneaky pivot play in this mid-range. Ultimately, fight is minus 140, ends inside the distance. I don't mind taking an overweight stance there on the field, hoping that we do get a finish from one side or the other. Should come with some level of domination and potentially an optimal score in the mid-range. All right, that's going to do it for this week's UFC Quick Picks. Thank you so much for the support. You can follow me on Twitter, Appley, _T_P. Establish the run for all your DraftKings needs. Just recorded a 2-hour premium podcast with my guy Gambles Gordo there over at ETR. Full breakdowns, projections available as well. Thanks to Pat and the team for having us on. Good luck this week. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.